The screen is black. The only sound is the frantic, rhythmic clicking of a camera shutter. It speeds up, a frantic mechanical heartbeat. A single, stark photograph flashes on the screen. A red carpet. 2001. Tom Cruise. He is smiling, but it doesn't reach his eyes. His grip on Nicole Kidman's hand is not a caress. It is a vice. Her own smile is a fragile, porcelain thing, moments from shattering. The camera shutters multiply, becoming a deafening swarm of locusts. Then silence. A vacuum of sound. A new image. A stark, official document. A filing in Los Angeles Superior Court. The words are cold, clinical, final. Petition for dissolution of marriage. The petitioner, Tom Cruise. The date, February 5th, 2001, just days before their 10th anniversary. It was a divorce that echoed around the world. Not a whisper, not a rumor, but a sudden, seismic shock. Headlines screamed. Fans gasped. The world's most perfect Hollywood fairy tale was over. But this was no simple story of love gone cold. This was a mystery, a tightly controlled narrative that began to crack, revealing shadows, secrets, and a powerful, unseen force that would tear them apart. This is the hidden story behind the shocking fallout between Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. The Australian sun is relentless. It bakes the earth, smells of eucalyptus and dust. 1989, a film set. The air crackles not with heat, but with something else. Electricity. We see them young. Tom Cruise, already a global megastar, a force of nature with a million-watt smile. Nicole Kidman, a rising talent from Australia, all porcelain skin and fiery red hair. They are filming Days of Thunder, a story of speed and danger. It began at full throttle, a whirlwind romance on the set of a racing film. He was the king of Hollywood. She was the promising newcomer. The chemistry was instant, explosive, and captured perfectly by the ever-present paparazzi lenses. It was a courtship played out on a global stage. We see grainy, archival footage, them laughing at a premiere, him looking at her with an intensity that felt both possessive and adoring. A quick, secret wedding in Telluride on Christmas Eve, 1990. No press, no fuss, just them. It felt real. They became Tom and Nicole, a single entity, a brand, Hollywood's golden couple. They made films together, Far and Away, a sweeping epic, Eyes Wide Shut, a psychosexual nightmare directed by the legendary Stanley Kubrick. For 3 years, the set was a sealed universe, a pressure cooker. Some say the film's themes of marital distrust seeped into reality, a slow-acting poison, but the public saw only unity. Two beautiful people with two beautiful adopted children, Isabella and Connor, living a life of glamorous seclusion. They were untouchable, but around the edges of this perfect picture, whispers began, not of infidelity, but of influence, of a third party in the marriage. The scene changes. We are in a clean, modern, yet strangely sterile room. The lighting is bright, neutral. A portrait of Elle. Ron Hubbard looks on. Tom Cruise was not just a movie star. He was a senior field staff member of the Church of Scientology, a devout and powerful figure within an organization known for its secrecy, its discipline, and its total commitment to its members. For Cruise, it was a salvation, a technology for living. For Kidman, raised in a liberal, intellectual Australian family, it was different. A leaked video from a Scientology event plays. Cruise speaks with fervent, blazing conviction about the church. His eyes are alight with belief. The church was his foundation, his family. It provided structure, purpose, and an inner circle that managed his life, his career, his world. And it viewed outsiders with deep suspicion, especially those closest to him. According to former high-ranking members, the church saw Nicole Kidman as a potential trouble source. A pontos, her family, particularly her psychologist father, Anthony Kidman, was labeled suppressive, an enemy of the church. Her influence on Tom was seen as a threat to be neutralized. We see a slow-motion shot of Nicole at a premiere, her eyes flickering with a momentary uncertainty as Tom speaks animatedly to a church official beside her. Rumors persist of audits, of security checks within the church, designed to root out her doubts, of aides assigned to her who were loyal first to the church, not to the actress. The perfect marriage was now a battlefield, and the world had no idea. The pressure was building, a kettle about to scream. The air in the sprawling Telluride estate, once a sanctuary, grows thin and cold. The logs crackle in the fireplace, but the heat doesn't penetrate. It is the winter of 2000. The Kubrick ordeal is over, but a new silence has taken root. Deeper, heavier. Nicole Kidman walks the halls. She can smell the pine from the forests outside, but inside, the scent is of wax polish and quiet anxiety. She's filming Moulin Rouge in Sydney, pouring a newfound, raw vulnerability into her performance. A performance some will later say was fueled by a crumbling reality. While Nicole explored the depths of heartbreak on screen, her own life was mirroring the art. Friends would later describe a change, a distancing. Tom was increasingly surrounded, not by old friends from her world, but by serious-faced men and women in dark suits. Scientology handlers. Their presence was a constant hum in the background of the marriage, a wall slowly being built between husband and wife. Then, the phone calls began. According to sources close to Kidman, her calls to Tom are monitored. Sometimes, he wasn't available at all. Isolated, she reportedly leaned more on her family, her suppressive family, the very people the church warned him about. This only deepened the rift. It was a feedback loop of suspicion and alienation. We see a shot of Nicole's father, Anthony Kidman, a gentle-faced man, speaking calmly on an Australian news program. His words are benign, but the context is explosive. The church's doctrine is clear. To disconnect from suppressives is not a choice, but a necessary step for spiritual survival. For Tom Cruise, a man who lived his beliefs with absolute fervor, the choice may have been becoming terrifyingly simple. His eternity or his wife. The end did not come with a fight. It came with a phone call. Nicole was on the set of Moulin Rouge in Sydney. The Australian sun was shining. Her phone rang. It was not Tom. It was a lawyer. His lawyer. She was informed, coldly and legally, that her husband had filed for divorce. The screen shows a paparazzi shot of Nicole, pale and stunned, being escorted from the set. Her eyes are red-rimmed, staring at nothing. The world is watching her, but she is utterly alone. The shock was absolute. For her. For the world. The reasons given were irreconcilable differences. A bland, Hollywood phrase that hid a universe of pain and conflict. But the real shock was yet to come. The brutality of the aftermath. Tom's camp launched a swift, ruthless PR offensive. Stories were planted, whispers became shouts. The narrative was carefully crafted, Nicole was a party girl. She was unstable. She was desperate for a baby, and her grief over a recent miscarriage had driven them apart. It was a character assassination executed with military precision. But from Nicole's side, nothing. Only a stunned, dignified silence. She refused to fight back in the press. She was, as one observer noted, outgunned and outmaneuvered. The most chilling detail emerges. The divorce was not just a separation of two people. It was a severing. Cruz's lawyers demanded Nicole renounce all claims to his future earnings. But the most devastating blow involved the children, Isabella and Connor. The church, viewing Kidman as a suppressive influence, reportedly pushed for a stark choice: disconnection. It is alleged that the children were encouraged to pull away from their mother, to see her as a threat. We see a heartbreaking, grainy photo from the time. Nicole, wearing a simple sweater, walks alone on a beach. The caption reads, "Kidman's first Christmas without her children." She would later speak of the profound grief of losing her family all at once. The man she loved and the children she adored. She was erased. For Tom, the divorce was a public relations nightmare he would quickly overcome. For Nicole, it was a private annihilation. The golden couple was now a crime scene, and the evidence was everywhere. The Los Angeles courthouse stands like a slab of granite under a bleached sky. The air smells of hot asphalt and exhaust fumes. A mob of reporters jostles, a chaotic organism with 100 blinking eyes. Microphones are thrust forward like weapons. Inside, the atmosphere is frigid. The hum of the air conditioner masks the silence between the two parties. Their lawyers speak in low, precise tones. The language is of assets and custodial arrangements, but the subtext is a war. The legal battle was swift and merciless. It was over in weeks. But the true battle, the one for the narrative, for the souls of two children, was just beginning. Nicole Kidman, reeling and isolated, signed the papers. She got a settlement, but she reportedly gave up something more valuable, a fight she knew she could not win. The camera focuses on a document, a clause. It is rumored, but never confirmed, to contain a stipulation about the children's upbringing within the church. A silent guarantee. The fallout was immediate and stark. Tom Cruise, free from the marriage, embarked on a new, very public romance with his Vanilla Sky co-star, Penelope Cruz. The images were everywhere. Tom, vibrant, smiling, moving on. Nicole was photographed leaving a therapy session, her face a mask of raw pain. But then a shift, a hardening. We see Nicole Kidman on the stage of the Golden Globes, 2002. She is thin, almost fragile, but her voice is steady. She has won for Moulin Rouge. She holds the statuette, a glint of something new in her eyes. Not just grief, defiance. Her career, once a shared enterprise, became her fortress. She chose roles that spoke to her new reality. A woman wronged, a survivor, a ghost in her own life. The Hours, Birth, Dogville. Each performance felt like an exorcism. Meanwhile, Tom cemented his status as the last great movie star, his persona inextricably linked to his beliefs. The paths diverged, never to cross again. The most enduring and painful mystery remains: the children. Archival footage shows a young Isabella and Connor, always at Tom's side at premieres, smiling. They are wearing what observers would later call the uniform, the crisp, modest attire associated with Sea Org members. They are, by all accounts, devout Scientologists. Nicole Kidman, in rare, guarded interviews, would voice the pain of the disconnect. She kept their childhood bedrooms perfectly preserved, hoping. But the calls on Mother's Day never came. The whispers from insiders were dark, that the children were coached to view her as a suppressive person, that her letters were intercepted, her gifts returned. A single, tragic quote appears on screen, attributed to a source close to Kidman. She didn't just lose a husband. She lost her children. The church won. The screen splits. On one side, Tom Cruise, jumping on Oprah's couch, proclaiming a love for Katie Holmes that feels eerily familiar. On the other, Nicole Kidman, years later, accepting an Oscar, her grace a stark contrast to the chaos of the past. 2 decades have passed. The public wounds have scarred over. But the questions remain, buried just beneath the surface of Hollywood history. Was this simply the implosion of a high-pressure marriage? Or was it something more calculated? A spiritual intervention disguised as a divorce? The conflicting interpretations are laid bare. The Church of Scientology has always vehemently denied any role in the breakup, calling such claims bigoted and false. They maintain it was a private matter between 2 people. Yet, the testimony of former high-ranking officials paints a picture of an organization protecting its most valuable asset at any cost. The evidence is circumstantial, a mosaic of rumors and leaked strategies, but the pattern is chillingly consistent. The final image is not of them together, but apart. 2 figures in separate, towering castles of fame and belief, with a chasm between them that proved too wide for any love to cross. The truth remains locked away, known only to the principals who will never speak of it. A perfect, impenetrable silence. The fairy tale had a villain, but it was not a person. It was an ideology. And in the end, ideology demanded a sacrifice. The screen fades to black. The last sound is not music, but the faint, ghostly echo of a camera shutter, freezing a moment of perfect happiness that was already beginning to decay.